All right, let's talk about getting to your first $10,000. The thing is, it's not about finding some secret magic formula. It's actually about dodging the 5 massive mistakes that stop most people dead in their tracks. And today, we're going to break them all down. So, here's the game plan. We're going to walk through 5 of the biggest financial traps you can fall into. We'll look at why they're so dangerous. And then, most importantly, we're going to talk about the fix for each one. The strategic shift that gets you back on track to building real, sustainable wealth.
Okay, let's dive right into mistake number 1. This is probably the most common starting point for everyone, and it's this incredibly fuzzy, unfocused goal that sounds good but gets you absolutely nowhere.
Come on, you know you've said this. I've said this. We've all said it. I just want to make money. And you know what? As a goal, it's terrible. It's like telling a taxi driver, just drive. You have no destination, no direction, and you're definitely not going to end up where you want to be.
Honestly, it's an amateur move. The professionals, they have a plan. They get specific. They know exactly what kind of money they're after because they understand the huge difference between looking rich and actually being rich. It's about leveling up from a wish to a real strategy.
And this right here, this is the core reason people get stuck. We're all conditioned to chase net worth, the big house, the new car. But that's just a snapshot in time, and it can be a total illusion. Net worth is like your score in a video game. It's for bragging rights. But cash flow, that's your health bar. That's what keeps you in the game. It's the money that actually hits your pocket every month that creates real freedom.
So what's the fix? You get specific. Your entire financial world can be boiled down to these 7 numbers. This is your personal financial dashboard. You want to change your life? You don't just wish for more money. You look at this list and you ask, okay, what's my plan to increase my income? What's my plan to lower my expenses and boost my cash flow? Now that is a real plan. All right, mistake number 2. And this one might be a little controversial for some of you. It's the idea that all debt is bad. That is a myth, a huge one that keeps people playing a small game their entire lives. You have to reframe how you think about this. Debt isn't a monster hiding under your bed. It's more like fire. It can burn your house down, or it can cook your food and keep you warm. It's a tool, a seriously powerful tool. And how you use it determines whether it launches you forward or sends you flying off a cliff.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. You've got the gurus on one side screaming, get out of debt, cut up your credit cards. But on the other side, the wealthy are quietly using what's called good debt. So what's the difference? Well, bad debt buys you stuff that makes you poorer, like a new TV on a credit card. Good debt buys you assets that make you richer, things that actually put money back in your pocket.
The secret sauce here, the fix, is learning how to use leverage. OPM, other people's money. Think about it. With real estate, you could put down, say, $10,000 to control a $100,000 property. The other $90,000, that's the bank's money, OPM. And if that property makes you money every single month after all expenses, well, you're making a return on money that wasn't even yours. That's the power we're talking about.
Okay, this next mistake, this is a big one. This is the single biggest reason why some people can work their entire lives, earn a good income, and still end up with nothing. They spend all their money buying things they think are assets, but are actually liabilities in disguise.
So forget all the complicated definitions you learned in school. This is all you need to know. It's dead simple. Does it put money in your pocket? It's an asset. Does it take money out of your pocket? It's a liability. That's it. End of story. The direction the cash is flowing tells you everything.
So let's look at what this actually looks like. For someone who's poor, the financial picture is a straight line. Money comes in from their job, and poof, it goes straight out to pay for taxes, rent, food. It's a revolving door. Notice what's missing. There's no asset column. The money never gets a chance to stop and work for them.
Now, the middle class. At first glance, this looks better. More income, right? But look where that extra money goes. It goes into a bigger liability column. A bigger mortgage, a nicer car payment, more credit card debt. This creates even bigger expenses, which means they're trapped. They have to keep that job just to pay for all the liabilities they've collected. This is the very definition of the rat race.
And now, check this out. The wealthy are playing a completely different game. They focus on one thing and one thing only, building their asset column. The income from their assets, their real estate, their stocks, their businesses, flows in and pays for their entire lifestyle. Their money is working for them, so they don't have to.
The fix is to mind your own business, which really just means focus relentlessly on building your own asset column. All right, mistake number 4. This one is for anyone who invests or wants to. It's the mistake of getting into an investment with hope as your only strategy. It's basically like setting sail on a big ship without ever bothering to check where the lifeboats are. And look, let's be real. Sometimes the entire ship sinks. The dot-com bubble, 2008, that's systemic risk. That's the Titanic hitting an iceberg you never saw coming. You can't control that. But you can't use that as an excuse to not manage the risks that are 100% within your control.
Because the problem isn't just that the ship might sink. The real problem is getting on board in the first place without a plan. You have total control over when you get in and when you get out. You decide your own lifeboat drill before you ever leave the harbor.
And this right here, this is the psychological nightmare that blows up so many accounts. Without a plan, your emotions take over. First, it's, I'm down a little, I can't sell and lock in a loss. Then it drops more. Oh wow, now I've lost way too much, I just gotta hold on. You get trapped by hope. But here's the secret. The moment your predetermined exit point is hit, that money is already gone. Accepting that is what frees you. Because hope is not a strategy. So how do the pros do it? They never, ever enter a trade without knowing their exits first. They know their entry point, sure, but more importantly, they know exactly where they're getting out if they're wrong and where they're taking profits if they're right. They define their risk before a single dollar is on the line. That's pure discipline over emotion.
And here we are at the final mistake. And honestly, this might be the biggest one of all. It's the belief that what you need to get started is more money. But the truth is, what you really need is more knowledge. You gotta burn this quote into your brain. It's the fundamental law of money. If you don't have financial education, getting more money just means you're gonna lose it faster and probably in a more spectacular way. Your own ignorance is the biggest financial risk you will ever face. Okay, I want you to really picture this. $5,000. That's it. That is every single penny you have in the entire world. Just sit with that for a second. Now, what does the standard advice tell you to do? You go to a financial advisor and they're going to say, well, put it in a safe, diversified fund. You know why? Because they're scared of getting sued if you lose it. But let's be real. Is making a few $100 on $5,000 really going to change your life? No way.
Here's the radical idea, the game-changing fix. You take that $5,000 and you invest it in your own financial education. You buy a course, you go to a seminar, you learn a skill. Because think about it. The lifestyle difference between having $5,000 in the bank and having zero, it's pretty small. But the difference between not knowing how to create wealth and knowing how, that gap is infinite. You have to remember, money is everywhere, and it is always chasing good deals created by people who know what they're doing.
So let's put it all together. Here's your new blueprint. You need a real plan focused on cash flow. You learn to use good debt as a tool. You obsess over buying assets, not liabilities. You always have an exit strategy. And you never stop investing in your own financial education. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a system for building real, lasting wealth. So there you have it. You now know the 5 traps that stop 99% of people from ever building wealth. You are already way ahead of the game. The journey to financial freedom is a story, and you're the one writing it. The only question left is, what's your first chapter going to be? What action are you going to take today?